Hi, this is Derek Stewart from the DC Stewart Show podcast, featuring my co host Isaiah, along with our co host Najee. And Najee's away on assignment right now, so he will be rejoining us at a later time. And hit that like button and subscribe. We're still covering the NFL draft. We covered the entire first round yesterday, and we're covering the second round today. And we're still kind of a little bit, it's a suspense between the both of us because we're wondering if Shador Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and Jalen Milrow is going to be drafted this round because it doesn't seem like any of those quarterbacks have been considered for any of these teams, with edge rushers and defensive linemen and linebackers, of course, being the dominant force that most teams are looking for. And second to that is going to be offensive linemen, offensive tackles, offensive guards. And we're just sitting and waiting in suspense because we want to definitely find out whether these quarterbacks are going to go this round. I mean, and if you think long and hard about it, it's something to think about, right, Isaiah?
Man, I'm puzzled. I
I
just
am very puzzled.
unbelievable,
Yeah, I'm
and
shocked.
I just can't find words to see why such enormous talent is still hanging around the board. I mean, just to watch these guys throughout the season, the ones that's on the board is what we're speaking of, primarily right now.
Correct.
And these are the ones that you've seen every week playing at a high level on Saturdays. And to see these guys hanging around on the board this late in the draft, this is
Especially
almost the
this
third
late into
round.
the rounds. I mean, that's
Yes,
what's shocking
yes,
to me. I mean, because if
yeah,
you look
and
right now, it looks like we're almost halfway through, if not over halfway through this
halfway
particular
through the
round.
second round.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
and DC, just imagine. I mean, I couldn't imagine 3, 4, 5 years ago where four of the candidates who was in the run for the Heisman Trophy is still hanging around in the late part of the second round of this draft. I just never seen it happen before, man. Usually hanging on the board. So, man, I just never seen it before.
I
Never
haven't
seen it
seen
before.
anything like it all the way back to Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers was the last player in the green room to
So
get
what we talking
drafted, and
about? 20
Green
years
Bay ended up
ago?
drafting
That's
him.
20
You
years
know,
ago,
that
DC.
was
That's the
20
20
years
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just to see these guys hanging around, and you know, Shadur and his family, they all know they're smart. You know, Dion been through this thing all of his adult life. He's seen the drafts, and not just seen the draft. He actually worked the draft. You know, until he got into the collegiate level of coaching, Dion was there on draft night, bringing the kids
Absolutely.
in and
Because
hugging
he used to
just
work
like
with the
the
NFL
commissioner.
Network, correctly?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't know which network he worked for, but I tell you one thing: he was there at the draft parties and the draft,
Well,
picks.
all of
He
that's
was there.
tied into ESPN and CBS Sports and Fox Sports and all of that. So it's all interconnected, I think,
Yeah, but
overall.
what my point in mentioning him is the fact that he's smart enough to know that he could just sit home and chill at the house or where they all congregate when they're doing like their own personal stuff because his son never even went to where they hold a draft over in Green Bay. He was smart enough to say, okay, I don't think I'm going the first round. I'm not going to make that trip there. I'm going to just relax here. So if I don't get pulled in the first round, second round, I at least be home. I don't have to fly back home
That's
in
right.
despair because that's what it'll be. You will be emotionally torn apart if you book rooms in Green Bay and where it's ice cold, and I guarantee you they somewhere where it's comfortable,
Hmm.
and you didn't get drafted, then you got to fly back home with your tail between your legs. So
Isn't that
that's
something?
the thing I'm talking about. So these guys, when I seen them this morning, it was all just having a beautiful time with family members, and that's how it should be. And then they did it because they know how things work. You know, it ain't new to them at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just I mean we could keep going on and on about it, but these teams technically know exactly what they want and what they're looking for.
Mhm. Yeah,
So it's just a matter of these teams making a decision to do what they need to do to shore up their teams. I mean, for need and want and all that type of thing.
the Bears just picked.
It looks like the Bears just picked at number
Yeah,
56.
offensive tackle. Offensive tackle. See, we're still on par with what we've been talking about
Yeah,
yesterday and today with these teams of building up their interior line. And these rushers, and that's what they're doing. They making sure they getting these pass rushers, and they also getting their interior line fattened up. And let me see how much this guy weigh. Man, he looked like a big guy too, man.
Boston College. Ozzy
Yeah,
Trapilio.
yeah,
Pilio. Ozzy
yeah,
Trapilio. Or Pilio. Trapillo.
yeah.
6'8", 316. Now that is freaking huge.
Woo-hoo.
And he's the bookie and he protects that quarterback.
Yeah, yeah. Unbelievable, man. Well, when I see these guys going to these teams, I start looking at the fact that what type of city they getting ready to embark themselves into, man. DC,
Mm-hmm.
you imagine you, somewhere in the neighborhood of 21 to 24 years old when you come out of college, if you did all 4 years,
Correct.
and then have a kid that comes in and become an instant millionaire, and especially if they're in a city that has a lot of
Things you
fun,
can do, let's just
fun.
say. The lot of the
Yes,
cities
you
with a
got
lot of
a
activity.
nightlife,
A
beautiful
nightlife like
nightlife.
Miami or
You're studying the
LA or New
beautiful.
York. I could keep
Yep.
going on and on and on.
I think the Miami and LA thing is more so better than New York because football season is in from what you call the late August until almost February. And
Right.
those are the freezing months in New York. I'd rather be on the West Coast or the South. The South and the West Coast is the cities what has all the partying going on and the great weather. So if you in Texas, you could be in Dallas, Texas, or you could be as far south as Miami, or
Mm-hmm.
or, or far north is Jacksonville. Because other than that, you're gonna be iced out. Because once you start going to the Carolinas and DC on up to New York, and
That's
oh
right.
man, you're getting ready to freeze, man. You're getting ready to freeze.
That is so true. Looks like Detroit has traded up to 57
Yeah, it's like they traded up to
because
the
they were sitting
yeah.
at
Who
60, and it looks we'll see
yeah,
who they're going to pick. So it looks like
okay.
Detroit and maybe Carolina took Detroit's. They swapped spaces. So it looks like Detroit, Houston, Baltimore, Carolina, Washington, Buffalo, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. And those are the last picks. I mean, are they going to pick these quarterbacks? It remains to be seen.
Yeah,
It looks like the Denver Broncos. Another guard.
Jim-
Another guard.
yeah, another guard.
So these are dominant positions. Edge rusher, guards, tackles, dominant positions to build the foundation of an offense and a defense, if that makes sense. So you're building whenever you build a structure, you have to build a foundation from ground up. And if you don't have any foundation, you don't have any structure. So they have to think about that, you know.
Hmm.
And the Detroit Lions could use this lineman because he's another lineman to protect Jared Goff, who is their quarterback, and help enhance their running game as well.
Yeah.
That's my guy Dan Campbell. Love me some Coach Campbell. So it looked like the Raiders pick is in. Now, this is an opportunity for Mark Davis to pick Shedeur right now. This is the opportunity right here, right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to predict Shedeur. Shedeur could play behind Geno Smith until Geno Smith or Shedeur gets to a point where he could play.
I thought Geno Smith is
Yeah,
over
Geno
there.
Smith was traded to Raiders from Seattle.
Oh man, Jeff, a receiver
Oh, they picked a
from
receiver.
TCU.
So my
Yeah, from TCU.
screen is behind yours by
Estimation.
seconds. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a delay
yeah,
because the guy's still talking. They haven't even announced the
yeah.
selection yet.
Unbelievable, man. I don't remember seeing this guy play, but the scouts went out and did their job to be able to say this guy can fit in our um, sequence of offense because for a team like TCU,
Mm-hmm.
for them to say this guy is the best of the brightest of receivers to
Correct.
be on our team, that means these scouts had to really do their due diligence about going out and scouting because you take all of these Division I schools that has enormous talent.
Correct.
And then for them to get a team like TCU to go out and get one of the key players like a receiver, that's some good work. What these coaching staffs and these scouts are doing to be able to pick a player from a Division II school or
Correct.
one or
Mm-hmm.
that
Lower level schools get overlooked
They do. A school like
unless you got
Texas Christian
scouts that's
University
doing
get
their
up.
work. Yes. Hmm. Yep. And especially if they're not playing on TV a lot. If they're
Mm-hmm.
not playing on TV a lot and they still get recognized as a candidate to be, picked in the draft, most of those guys who really have the fortitude to go out there and work hard and then someone tell them, hey, man, listen, I don't know whether they're going to draft you, but you can walk on. That means you
Right.
got to be 3 times as good when you don't give no with them. And then they see, oh man, this guy is good. I need to go pull some old clippings of his
Exactly.
games, throughout his career. And then they see you, they say, oh shoot, we missed this, man.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't put them on their radar. But for these guys to go in the second round, the first round, I just think it's good work by the scout.
Oh, well, the
Yeah.
scouts make all the difference in the world when it comes to making recommendations and talking to the ownership and the general manager. That's why they have like a team of scouts. They have multiple people that are
Yeah.
in the scouting department,
Yeah.
and they make a huge
You know,
impact on that.
When Jerry Rice and all those guys was in college, I oftentimes used to think of how they were being seen because you had none of the social media at all. You barely had cable, and you talking about Mississippi and Alabama and the little hick towns in Texas, and these guys still wind up playing. When I think back of even a couple weeks ago, I was thinking about Syracuse having Jim Brown go there, a white school in Syracuse, New
I
York.
remember that, and I was shocked to hear that Jim Brown
Yeah,
actually played football at Syracuse.
Right. See, and then
Yeah.
you're talking about an 80-year-old man was playing at Syracuse, and then at that time, it was division between blacks and whites and
Oh, for
stuff like
sure.
that. And he was definitely part of the movement. Jim Brown was. He
Yes, he
was part.
was.
He was one of the players inside the movement.
Mhm.
Along with Martin Luther King and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and they couldn't even get OJ, which was much younger, to walk with them, and he wouldn't do it.
Well,
He
OJ
felt
wasn't
like, oh
interested in
man,
it at the time. I mean,
no, he absolutely wasn't. He really
yeah,
wasn't, involved in stuff like that until he got his rear end caught in the sling. So that's when he started acting as if he was a brother. Before
yeah.
then, he didn't even act like he was a brother. Hey man, listen, we need you to come out here and walk with us. Spirit of brotherly love. Oh man, I'm OJ. I ain't going out there. You know.
Yeah. It's a
So
shame that
yeah,
he gave away an opportunity like that to be a part of a movement that was a positive movement. It wasn't a negative
of course
movement.
it was.
That was a
Of course
positive
it was
movement.
positive.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was to help everybody. It wasn't just to help one particular group of people. This was a movement for everybody, male and female.
Yeah.
That made a difference all the world itself right there. We're gonna have to go to the Hall of Fame probably in the next year or two. We need to all meet you and Najee and myself, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we need to make our way to that Hall of Fame game, which is gonna be the beginning of the
Yeah.
preseason to see the
Right.
teams play, and then we'll tour the Hall of Fame, tour that area in Canton, Ohio, because I really would like to see the history of football. I mean, and the history of football is so deeply genuine to me. It's very important to me. So, looks like Baltimore just made a pick. Baltimore pick is in, so we'll see how Baltimore. Yeah, this quarterback ended up out of Louisville getting drafted by New Orleans, which I didn't see the guy play that much because Louisville is in the ACC. I saw Miami play him, but I didn't see this guy play that much, so it's hard for me to assess, his abilities.
Yeah. Baltimore picked. They got it. What? Yeah.
Vegas is a man. That's a hell of a place to play professional sports. Just not only
Wow,
football,
man.
but any sport for
Yeah.
that matter.
Any sport.
Yeah, it's
I
just
think.
so
I
much you
think
can get
football
into
to
in
me
Las
will be the
Vegas, man.
most. Mm-hmm. Man, and then their weather is like where we were saying earlier. They got good weather there too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
summertime
all
is
year round.
extremely freaking hot, though.
Yeah, but
I mean, Las Vegas was the hottest
winter
place
time
on
is when
earth
they
that
gonna
I had
start.
ever been. The first time I went to Las Vegas,
Yeah,
it was like
yeah,
80 degrees at night, 120 in the daytime.
mhm.
So
Well,
if
you
that's
got
not
those
hot, I
desert.
don't know what is.
You got the desert right there, man.
Yeah, it is the desert. And in the wintertime, it gets extremely cold. So,
Yep,
because you're out in the middle of the desert.
yep. Well,
So it
imagine it
looks like
probably slipping
we're
everywhere.
down the draft number 59. If I look at everything as I see it on the draft tracker right now, because
These guys
Baltimore's
might
pick
go
is
third
in,
now.
we don't have very many more teams to go. I mean,
Right.
these guys could easily fall into the third round, man.
Mhm. Yeah. Wow. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. The only time I seen something like that, DC, is when well, I can't even think of his name now. Charlie Ward.
Yeah,
When
Charlie
Charlie
Ward
Ward
out of
didn't get
Florida
drafted.
State.
Yes, when he
He
was the
went. He
Heisman
ended up
Trophy.
playing basketball though. He played for the
Oh
New
yeah,
York
but we're not
Knicks.
talking about that. Yes, he
Yeah.
did. And Pat Riley was the one drafted, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the mere fact that this guy was voted the best college football player that year to win the Heisman,
Right.
and then to not be drafted.
I know. Isn't that something?
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. I just couldn't see it, man. It was a bias back then out of this world for a guy to be the best collegiate football player in the country and not even get
Heisman
drafted.
Trophy winner. Yeah.
I just, I mean, I would see if you gave the man a shot.
Right.
Just give him a shot. If you had to cut him, but to not draft him at all.
Right. Right.
And you just handed this man the highest level of accomplishment in collegiate football, and you won't even draft him. That's despicable,
Like
man.
once again, each owner and each team, management, and I'm going to include the GM in that, they have their own way and their own processes of trying to subjectively assess who they're going to draft, and a lot of times popularity just not going to get you there alone. I mean, I know Shador, he was in the media a lot, him and the Colorado Buffs, with Travis Hunter on that team, and his brother,
listen,
and now that I think
that
about it,
part right there is a double-edged sword.
hmm
That's a double-edged sword, man, because sometimes they characterize you as being flamboyant, so I don't want you on my team if you flamboyant. You
right,
know, they don't want you on my team if you this, that, and the other. But then they will go get a sorry son of a gun who can't even take a snap and draft him. You know, it's just, I just, but you can't tell a person how to spend their money and who you want on your club. But
true,
it's just as plain as the nose on your face how biased some of them are when it comes to this, man. Now, I think that Shador will get probably picked in the third round because you just cannot deny these kids that's not being drafted, the ones that especially the one who was welcomed to the Heisman Trophy ceremony. You just cannot deny these guys. You can't tell me. You cannot freaking tell me that there's is in the third round. That's going to be 90 something players are better than these guys. Because if you wait to the third round, you're talking about over 90 players has been picked. But
and
when it
usually
came
when
to
you
flat
fall
raw
into that
talent,
realm, the third round it isn't even guaranteed that you will make a squad. When you falling into that level,
exactly,
yeah. I mean, when you falling into that level of
exactly.
realm, I mean,
You almost going to try out, DC, at that point. You just
exactly.
coming up just to try out. Nothing is paid for. I mean, when you're in the first round, you literally go to that city the very next day. Just like I was watching an interview with Hunter this morning, he said that he kind of figured now, I can say what that meant to me off air, but he said that he was already looking for a place to stay in Jacksonville,
Sure. I'm
houses
sure
and
he's
stuff.
house hunting right now. Yeah.
Well, no, he was already doing it. That's what I'm saying,
Right.
DC. He was already doing it
So
a
he
couple
was in the
days
know
ago.
then. Somebody obviously he
What we
had
were saying
inside
last night,
information.
it was dripping. It was dripping. It was dripping. It was
Yeah.
dripping that they was going to pick him. Now, what he did say, what was enormous hilarious to me, the fact that he loved the fish. He said he found some fishing holes over there, though.
Yeah, he do like to fish. That's one thing
Right.
for sure.
You know what was funny when they showed some segments of Dion's place, and Dion
He's got a
comes
lake behind
home.
his house, right?
Yes, and Dion comes home. He just gets on his side by side, the ATV, riding around his property, and notice that Hunter has got his boat out there in the lake fishing. He done got Dion's boat and took off with it.
Oh my
Had
goodness.
his rods and stuff fishing. And then was bragging about he catches the biggest fish, man. And so he's gonna love to be in Jacksonville because Jacksonville got quite a few places now. If he wanted salt water, he surely had the ocean there on the
True.
East Coast. And
True.
then he's got all these little creeks and stuff he can fish out of, man. So
Hmm.
this is a perfect spot for him. But he can rest assured he'll see our face in the place. You and I and Najee going there and then watch some of these football games because we got extra added reasons to be in town.
No doubt
Yep.
about it. No doubt about it.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's something else. Now who's on the board now?
So it looks
Ole
like
Miss.
right now up next on the
Trevor
clock.
Amos is a cornerback. Trey Amos. Trey Amos, cornerback from Ole Miss. Yeah.
Yeah, my stream just went dead on me, so I'm waiting on my screen from my secondary computer here
Oh
to
man,
reboot back up.
this guy family is off the rails, man. Who picked him? I'm trying to see who picked him. Yeah. So what were you saying, DC? Your screen that locked up?
Yeah, it looks I'm actually watching it stream on NFL Network, and it looks like my stream something happened just a few moments
Oh,
ago, and I'm
okay.
trying to my computer just keeps thinking and thinking and thinking because I'm not actually watching it on big screen TV. I'm watching it on computer right now.
Yeah.
Let me check this. So yeah, we're gonna cover some topics right after this second round draft that we need to definitely discuss. One being, Shannon Sharp. We call him Shay Shay. Unk. A lot of people call him Unk. His
No.
his his money actually that money that he's trying to negotiate for this
It's in
podcast
town.
deal, it's at risk. I mean, from what I
It's
saw
in town,
today,
man.
it's at risk. I mean, honestly, it's at risk. And
Yeah.
ESPN and they're
Oh,
just sitting back waiting. I mean, because he took some time off from ESPN from what I was reading yesterday, and every day, the drip drip thing with this accuser coming out
and
and
this
putting this video, I
there's
mean, putting
another
this
one though.
audio out there that
DC is another one, man. Is another one dropping it on him now.
two,
She's
it's two
joined. She
people.
joined. Yeah, yes, it's two of them now.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
they're
only
dropping it on.
probably
Well,
build up.
the thing is, it's stronger. It's stronger. They don't, dug and find somebody else to come out because multiple is stronger. So one person saying it is like, oh, that's just my word against her. Now you start getting two and three or four of them coming there. Then you start saying there's a pattern. There's a pattern of his abuse. So then it makes their case stronger. Even if they was going to walk away when we were talking about this thing when you're giving her $50 million. But if you can have somebody join the club, then that $50 million is in sight.
That's right.
It ain't
That's right.
nowhere in sight if you got one girl who just talking this crap, and it could have been a disgruntled girl who, of course they looked like they had something going on. It wasn't the one night stands because they was talking about hanging out. I'm gonna next time I see you, I'm gonna choke you and all of this foolishness. That means you hanging out with her. Because if it was a one night stand, then it would have been an exchange, and that would have been the end of it. But the mere fact that if you say that again, I'm gonna choke you. That means y'all got a fling on. It's a go together type of thing, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the moment he got to the point where they got at odds to the point where they even talking to each other in a disrespectful manner. Man, bounce on to the next one because it's nothing good coming out of that at all once it get to that degree. And then it was clearly orchestrated and premeditated just off the phone conversation that I heard.
Oh, no doubt
The
about
way
it.
she was leading him on and all of that kind of crap. And he
I
fell
don't
right into the
understand. I
trap,
don't
man. That's the
understand
way
how
she
he couldn't see into that, though. I mean, because he's a smart guy. I don't get it, man. I really don't get
Well,
it.
listen to me, man. Bruh, you could be as smart as you can. If you ain't got no common sense, what good is it when it comes to stuff like that? I often say when I see a person who can't smell that sour milk, man, where'd you grow up? Because clearly she led him on. The first few things she said out of her mouth, and he started stepping in that cow manure. I knew where that was going. I didn't have
Yeah.
to see the whole the tape. I didn't have to listen to the whole thing. It was from the beginning where she said, "Oh, you gonna hang up on me? Oh no, I'm not gonna hang on you, Gabby. The big sound like a fool." I'll say, "Well, I'm not gonna hang up on you, but goodbye." And that should have been the end of it. But and then she started saying other stuff, and then he's threatening her, right? And that's all they needed to hear. And it could have been something where it's not seriously, but they'll make it sound like serious. Almost, and then the nutcase had to say, "I'll even choke you in public." Or when he said that, they said, "Got him." You know the old saying when they say
Yeah.
"got him."
Gotcha.
That's what they
Gotcha.
did. You
Gotcha.
fell for it, man. Your feet is all in the doodle there. His toes and everything got boo boo between his toes now. He stepped right
Yeah.
in it.
Yeah.
So now he's got to hire a high power attorney to wiggle his way out of this,
Oh,
man,
he's gonna
because now
lose.
he's
He's
got
gonna
other
lose
accusers that got involved.
tens of thousands, if not tens of millions of dollars, because
No, it ain't the tens of thousands, bro. Jump to the
to the
millions
millions.
because the
Yeah.
tens of thousands gonna go to legal fees. It's gonna be multiple millions of dollars this guy getting ready to get off of. And what they're doing is they heading it off the $100 million. They heading that off because I'm gonna tell you right now that $100 million that was on the table is clearly in peril now. Yeah, he's not getting that. They're not giving it to him because
Yeah.
there's no network gonna jeopardize $100 million to a man that's in legal trouble where he might not even be on air. Because by the time he wiggled his way out of here, his entire way of living is going to be diminished.
That's right.
You know, his all his body of work is in
It's
trouble
gone. I
now.
mean, it's up in
His
smoke.
legacy is done.
Up in
Everything
smoke.
is you know. When he had that little back and forth with Skip, he was on a plateau where you say, man, this guy got a beautiful career. He's in the Hall of Fame. He jumped over into broadcasting. He's doing well over here. He's hanging out with Stephen A. Everybody liked his correspondence stuff. I mean, he was doing everything. And then he dropped this little thing where he was on the tape knocking some honey down and got her screaming like he putting it on her and finds out that that was BS too because it ain't nowhere in the world you can go live. How you going live?
And
It's
you
two or three
coordinate
ways to
all
do
that
the
to go
thing.
live, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. And then he come out with a sex pill on top of that. You know, it's one thing to go out and promote stuff like that. But that stuff is all well thought of and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to ease into this thing right here. And then we're going to support you on this, this sex pill that he got. And all
Mm-hmm.
that thing went well. It just blew up.
Mm-hmm.
But now his character is in deep dire strait, man. His
Well,
character is in severe dire strait, man. Nobody ain't gonna look at him and say, "You think the guy was antagonizing him when he was coming through the airport with that little lap dog, that little puppy when they were
mm-hmm.
fighting, thought he was sugary, and because he coming through the airport with a little lap dog, and then he really." Like, why are you filming
Really?
me, man? I'm just trying to
Really?
mind my own business
Really?
and go home. so now, his character is being questioned, man. And that's the best way and the fastest way you can get took off the air. Look at what happened to Playmaker. They had a honey to come out and say he did that, this, that, and the other, and challenged him on there. It all became false. But then this man lost all of that money. And what it was a drafting or a Super Bowl, one of the two. That
It was a
he
Super
couldn't even
Bowl.
attend. It was
It was a Super Bowl month. I mean, the weeks leading up until the Super
The week
Bowl.
of the Super Bowl,
And he was
they
asked to
told him to
leave.
pack his bag.
He wasn't
Dude,
even invited anymore to any other functions
the
for the
man was
NFL.
already in town for the correspondent, and he was going to be one of the lead guys that interview folks for the Super Bowl. And he was asked to pack his bag
And
and go home.
Go home.
Come
Yeah.
on, man. And then, despite the message from his attorneys, told him, listen, don't go out there and say anything, just lay low and we'll clear your name. He didn't even take advice from his counsel. He went out there anyway and spoke on his own behalf.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately,
Well, he called
was
himself
cleared
trying
of
to
it.
get out in front of that, and I think he was anxious to
You
get
can
in
never
front
get
of
out in
it.
front of that when you got
Yeah.
lawyers dropping that hot water
Yeah.
on you, and you got 2 or 3 girls over there, and then they had other people to verify. Oh yeah, he was there. You can't get in front of that. You can't. The best way to do is try to shield yourself. Go in there and sit down, relax, and let this thing all blow over
Play
before you
itself
start
out.
making moves
Yeah.
and running your mouth, man. Because anything you say could be held against you.
That's
You
true.
know. So even the time when they got him caught up in the little allegation of him having illegal substances in his hotel room, when that was false, the people who came out and said he did it, they were nowhere to be found. They just got missing.
Mm-hmm.
They just got missing, and he was out in front of this trying to say, "Oh man, you see, they don't, try to repair my image when they done tore me apart." No, that ain't their job. That's your job. They're
True.
not trying to make you look good, man. The only thing they want to do is break you down. And once they get that accomplished, they chest bump themselves that they got you.
That's true. He's in a bad spot. I can tell you that. They got him in a bag of
Terrible
tricks right
spot.
now.
It's a terrible spot, man. Because
Yeah.
I would think that would be something with Ocho. Like Ocho would do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ocho is more outgoing and stuff like that. And you consider Shay Shay more private than anything.
Right.
He's more private than anything. But then it shows you it can happen to the best of us when you got somebody messing around with a little
Absolutely.
young girl like that there who's trying to prey on a guy who's rich, and you fall for the okie doke, man, because that's what he did.
Yep.
And you would think a guy who's a seasoned veteran, where his play days should be kind of smoothed over by now. But
Mm-hmm.
no, he had to go get him a 20-year-old so he could say that's what he's been hitting. A young girl. When everybody was saying, hey, Shay Shay, you know
I'm just perplexed by the whole thing, because you know how much I look up to him in terms of his accomplishments, and he came from nowhere, came from nothing, from Savannah State, worked his way
Mm-hmm,
up, was a 7th or 8th round draft pick with the Broncos. He
mm-hmm,
had to fight for his damn
mm-hmm.
job every year,
Yep, yep.
and
All of that stuff you're saying is correct.
and he makes his way all the way up to the mountaintop. Technically,
Yeah, yeah.
he was near the peak of the mountaintop with this $100 million deal, and that's all
Oh, he was
seems to
there.
be come crumbling down. You know.
He was there, DC.
Yep.
He was there, man.
And
I mean,
I don't see him being. I see his career being up in arms. I see his career as being, if this is any of this stuff that they could prove in court, and the question today came up with whether it could turn into a criminal investigation for the
well,
sexual assault part.
well, I don't know whether that's true,
Well,
man,
they
and that's
mentioned
sad.
that. They mentioned that. So You know,
Well, they're
because you
going to
know a
push
lot of
that
times
though,
when that
DC.
happens, local law
Well,
enforcement or national law enforcement, they tend to take an investigation and they look into it. They start digging
DC,
too. That's what happened
what
with
that?
Michael Vick with them dogs. I mean, his cousin and all them guys got caught up in all that dog fighting for an unrelated situation up at that house. And then look, he was
Well,
drug into all of it and ended up spending 2 years of his life. He lost his freedom
well,
messing around with something that didn't seem to be able to get near him to touch him. It ended up touching him, you know?
well, DC, you mentioning the thing that can catapult over to a criminal investigation. They would make it seem like it's criminal, where he can start getting up off some of that money, because once they start talking about slanging time, guys trying to backpedal and see how they can wiggle their way out of that criminal case where that stuff can go away.
Mm-hmm.
Because ultimately, if that stuff, become criminal, you talking about jail time now. It ain't just you paying out some money. You get
Yeah,
locked
he's
up.
he's got a lot to think about. I mean, his lawyers has got to be on point, man. They gotta try to head off some of this with an offer because I find it a little concerning, and I'm gonna just say concerning because I still have the utmost respect for Shay Shay. I find it
Yeah,
concerning that he's tried to settle for allegedly $10 million. He wanted to offer that
yeah,
money for her to go away and
yeah,
to sell it where it never made it to the media, it never made it out into the open. And I think she started seeing bigger dollar signs if the allegations are
yeah,
true, you know?
yeah.
And sadly to say that
Well, if you
he
got a
got caught
greedy
up in it.
attorney in there, if he mentioned to offer $10 million, which that could appear to be a crap load of money to the average Joe, and then you got these wicked people in her ears saying,
Oh yeah.
"Listen, if he offered you 10 million, you can quadruple that,
Or you can get
and you
30 or
need to go
40
for
or
the."
50. Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll spice it up to $50 million, knowing good and well you're not getting $50 million. But if you can walk away with 10, 15, $20 million,
Hmm.
you got it made. And the
Yeah.
lawyer gonna push it because he gonna get his 20% out of that,
That's
or
true.
whatever the hell his fees are. But he's gonna
Oh,
be
you
smelling
you
like a
about you
rose,
close
man.
enough. I think you were right near spot on with that with these lawyers.
Yeah,
You know, because that's the way the law system is designed and is set up
New
for.
York is back on the button.
Yeah, it looks
DC,
like
Darius
Shador and all of them
Alexander.
done fell into the third round.
Yeah.
We're into the third round right now. We're at pick
Oh
65.
yeah, yeah, they are in the
So we
third
are
round.
into the
Wow.
third round, and we're going all the way up until the 102nd pick of the third round. And I think tomorrow will be another day of rounds, technically.
Yeah. They're gonna get to the point where when they get that deep, they don't even televise it anymore, man.
No, no. If it goes into the fourth and fifth round, they don't televise it. Or at least they might televise it, but it's not going to get any media, and all of the people out in the audience, they'll be gone. They won't even be
Yeah,
there.
unbelievable.
That would be something. I mean, if these three guys, because as I said before, it looks like Shador is getting his name is constantly out there. Look, why isn't he getting drafted? I don't hear Dylan Gabriel's name. I don't hear Jalen Milroe's name. I don't hear any of
Yeah.
these guys.
hmm Yeah.
So these guys
Um,
might be day 3, 2 or 3, because this
uh,
is the second day. So tomorrow could be day
I,
3.
I really didn't consider these guys been hanging around this long, despite not getting picked early in the first round. I just could never fathom the fact that here it is, the third round, and eased in there on these guys, man. Unbelievable. And especially you talking about multiple guys who were, invited to the Heisman Trophy ceremony and they haven't been picked.
Mm-hmm.
So this way of drafting these players has totally made a huge change from before. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
just haven't never seen it being done like this before. I know the game has tremendously changed when the first probably 10 picks will be a receiver, or either it'll be a running back or quarterback. and now it's totally changed.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these players are either interior linemen or edge rushers or DBs or a receiver here and there, but for the most part, it's been linemen being picked, man, and it's weird because when you get picked first, you got to throw some dollars at these guys, and these linemen are getting paid like the running backs and the receivers and the quarterbacks are getting paid because you pick a guy in the first round, you got to pay him. So I just haven't seen it done like this in years, man. And the way they're
Mm-hmm.
picking these players.
Well, it
Now, I'm
looks
not
as though
saying that they
here I'm
don't
reading
deserve to be
something
picked.
right now that it looks like they are making some predictions right now with Dylan Gabriel. They said that one particular sports analyst has him being drafted in the 4th round by the Dolphins. Says here that it has predicted that Gabriel will be
Wow,
drafted by the Miami Dolphins in the 4th round with the
wow.
135th pick. So
Whoa.
that's interesting.
See, there's something about this inside stuff, that DC. You're not fishing. You're not looking for a house
Mm-hmm.
in Jacksonville. And what pick Jacksonville had? They traded up to get Hunter. They passed off to get Hunter, and he knew all that stuff was getting ready to go down.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
knew that was going down. He's already looking for a place in Jacksonville before he got drafted. So that means that the whole true what you're saying about the Dolphin picking Gabriel in the 4th round. Wow.
He's a Hawaii kid too, just like Tua. So
Tua, yeah. So Tua might want him to come over there and back him up.
that could be.
They might know each other. You really never know. You really never know, man. Because
They
I
think the
know here in
Steelers is going
Miami,
to pick Jalen Milroe out of Alabama in the 3rd round.
the running back,
At least,
the running
no,
back.
the quarterback. The quarterback.
Oh,
Jalen
okay.
Milroe out of Alabama. It says here, several experts have said that there is a potential that Jalen Milroe could end up either with Dallas or he could end up with Pittsburgh, according to
Hmm.
this.
Wow,
But
man.
these are just all,
And
speculation.
free
They don't
agents,
really know. They don't really know.
yeah, but some of the stuff might be kind of true, man. It's just because the way this thing panned out. Now, I've never seen this amount of people knew exactly where they was going to get picked, man. They just knew it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know how in the world this thing is being implemented now because these guys knew when they were getting picked.
That's right.
You know,
That's unfortunate because you're not supposed to know where you're getting picked when you're getting picked.
well, from what I see now, they interview these guys too. They sit down and interview these guys just like you
It's
going
like
to
a job interview.
a
Yeah,
9 to 5 job
it's a
because they
job
want to know
interview.
your character, they want to know your work ethic, they want to know your background, they want to know the history of you because they're getting ready to hire you and pay you millions of dollars. They want to know who in the world that we're hiring because it's not one thing to just see you on Saturdays playing football. It's a matter of you getting ready to be one of our
Correct.
employees,
Correct.
and they want to know if you're going to be able to work out and you can, be able to sit down in the locker room and be cordial with your coworkers because that's what it is. It's a team atmosphere. It's a
Yep.
job that you got to go to, man. Because if you can't get along with folks, you poison to the organization, so they don't hire you.
That's a good
They might
point.
think you a lunatic. You don't want you on their team because you ain't gonna do nothing but cause problems.
That's right. That's
So
so true.
yeah,
So since
who's coming
we're
up? Who's
into the
picking up?
3rd round, we're gonna go
This
ahead
is
and we're gonna wrap this show right now as a
okay.
live stream because we've been streaming,
Mhm.
and we're gonna focus on the 3rd round draft because we still want to kind of monitor what's going on with Shador and with Dylan Gabriel and with Jalen Milroe. So we will definitely wrap this show at this point in time. We appreciate you, the viewer, checking us out today on day 2 of the NFL draft. I want to thank my co-host Isaiah, as usual, as always, because he is my sidekick and technically, my the half one leg and another leg. That's the way I look at it. So, Isaiah, do you have anything to close us out with?
No, I just thought that it was very beautiful yesterday when we had Najee on, our partner in this business, and he's doing some correspondent work now. But man, we had a beautiful day. We had our Jersey Mikes, and then we watched the entire first round of the draft, and now we did a piece of the second and the third. So we'll be watching and monitoring who else go in the third and the fourth round, man, because I love to see these guys make it to professional football. They've probably been playing since they were 7 to 8 years old. Then they get a chance to enhance their lifestyle and better their family and things of that sort. Because that's what it's really all about. When you can share your wealth and your prosperity with your family. So beautiful thing. God bless them, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Well said. Well said. So this is the DC Stewart Show podcast featuring Isaiah and Najee, and we'll see you again soon. Stay strong. Take care of those around you. Peace, love, and prosperity. We'll do this thing again very soon. Take it easy.